Good morning and welcome to the show. I have Denise Clubs in the studio today. Denise is a licensed marriage and family therapist, and we're going to talk about, is your kid ready for school? How do we know when our kids are ready? I mean, how young is too young, I guess?
Well, when you look at the school factor, you want to look at usually around the age of 3. Most of the preschools, you know, they've got the K-3 program now in the public school system. In terms of how are they ready? You want to make sure they're potty trained. That's very important. But then you want to look at it, around that time is when they begin to socialize. I mean, they're socializing earlier, but they're starting to need a lot more peer interaction, a lot of friend interaction.
You know, when I was young, 100 years ago, there was no such thing as preschool. That's kind of a new,
that is true,
or newer kind of advent of things. Now parents are kind of helicopter parents now, and they're starting their kids younger and younger in schools. Sometimes daycare situations and things like that.
Exactly. And a lot of times, if they've been in a daycare situation already, the transition's going to be smoother because they have not left necessarily the home and gone into a school setting from the home setting. I'm going to say that the individuals, the parents that are blessed to be able to have their children at home before the age of 3, or till the age of 3, you know, nowadays everybody's having to work and just to be able to survive. So it's rare to have those children, or to have the children in the home. So I encourage parents to just enjoy it as much as possible. The children are actually ready to go out and have peer and friend interaction.
And they'll surprise you sometimes.
Yes, they will.
How ready they can be.
They will.
And it's a shame. I know you kind of hinted at it, that people have to work. Some people just absolutely have to work.
That's right.
But is there an advantage to being a full-time mom?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. There's a lot of research out there that if you can have consistency among 1 or 2 caregivers, it's just it's more of an emotional stability for the child. Doesn't mean that there's anything wrong in terms of if the parent does have a daycare that the children, because you want to make sure there's a consistency there. But I think it's more proactive and it's a more positive.
So consistency is key.
Yes.
And there's, you know, and this may sound cliche, but there's no substitute for a mother's love.
Right,
you know,
right.
In the final equation.
That's correct.
I mean, we were fortunate enough, you know, where my wife was able to raise our boys, and boy, oh boy, let me tell you, I wish I got service like that, like these guys got. You know?
Right. Well, and you know, think about it from that standpoint. The children are, if they're in the home, okay, and then they go into a pre-K 3K program, then they are adjusting to a lot of different things. They are adjusting. They're not going to get that one-on-one that they're so used to, but there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's okay for them to learn how to share and learn the basics. And the children nowadays are getting wonderful learning experiences. At
younger and younger ages.
Exactly.
We have to run off to the local weather, but let's talk more about that on the other side of this break, brought to you by the West Pittman Law Firm. westpittmanlawfirm.com. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Denise Clubs, and she is a licensed marriage and family therapist, and we're talking about your child's readiness for school and preschool. So your little ones, you think they're ready,
right?
And maybe they can handle it, maybe they can't. I know a lot of the moms and dads can't handle it. There's a little separation anxiety there.
You're exactly right. It is a transition for the parents as well. One of the things that I recommend when you are getting prepared to go for the first time is to make sure that the child has an opportunity a few days beforehand, and a lot of the schools are doing this now, where they have a day set aside and they prepare, and all the children come on board, and they get to see their little cubby and their
so to get a little orientation.
Right, and then just maybe allow them to play a little bit with some of the things that are going on. And then that day that you actually drop your children off, okay, some children are going to walk right on in, bye mom, and parents are like surprised at that. There are others that will cling to you, do not want to go.
That was our boy. He's 20 years old now, and I'm going to embarrass him on TV. But when he was little, and we dropped him off to his first preschool, I don't know, he was 3 years old, something like that, 4 maybe. he marched right up the walk like he'd been doing it for years. But we did exactly what you said. They had a little orientation day.
Right.
And we sat down, and he had a lot of fun. He couldn't wait to go when it was the day of. And other kids were like clinging to their moms. He was, you know, walking right in like he owned the place.
Right, right.
It was amazing.
I do encourage parents to prepare and talk about it, you know, for a week beforehand, and of course getting your children prepared for sleep a week beforehand, starting that routine and that cycle, as well as talking about it. Saying, oh, it's going to be so exciting, you're going to meet new friends, you're going to go to school, and you're going to be a big boy or big girl right now.
Yeah.
The other thing too is, as a parent, okay, what do you do when you drop that child off for the first time? What is that like?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Hey, but I tell you touched on a couple really important things. Yeah, okay, mom and dad have to be mentally prepared.
Right,
You know.
right.
And I know, you know, my wife was locked and loaded to spring into action at the first phone call.
Right.
But also the whole sleep hygiene thing is very important. You have to get into that routine at home of, you know, early to bed, early to rise. Maybe you're coming off a summer vacation.
Right.
And you're not keeping regular hours. So it's really important, because I know teachers say that kids come to school tired sometimes.
Oh, exactly, exactly. And you know, I think one thing that's going to help this year is there are school changed hours. So I do believe that is going to be very helpful for
It's
kids.
shifting back a
Yes,
little
they
now.
are. Yes,
Which
they're
is,
getting
I always
more
thought they started a little too early around here anyway.
Yes, yes.
Particularly if you're a bus rider, you're up at old dark 30. Yeah.
Right,
They're sounding reveille on the base, and your kids in
Right.
formation waiting at the bus stop. It's a little too early for us civilians.
That is true. That
But
is
Denise
true.
Clubs, thank you so much for those helpful tips, and
You're welcome.
it's back to school before you know it.
That's exactly right.
All right, we'll be right back after your Mad Hatter Minute.
Hi, I'm David Lovett, and this is your Mad Hatter Minute. Maintaining proper tire pressure helps increase fuel efficiency and driving performance. Correct tire pressure allows the driver to experience a smooth ride, and performance designed to match the needs of the vehicle. An underinflated tire becomes flattened, and more surface area makes contact to the road. If a vehicle's tire pressure is underinflated by as little as 6 pounds, it can mean damage to the tire. Lower tire pressure allows the tire to bend more as it rolls. This will build up heat back into the tire and reduce the tire's lifespan by as much as 25%. You will also experience a significant decrease in your steering with lower tire pressure. Look on the sidewall of your tire. It should have the maximum tire pressure that the tire can hold. You can inflate your tires up to that maximum amount of pressure, but don't go over. Overinflation of your tire can have just as serious consequences as underinflation. An overinflated tire creates too much air back inside the tire. Going over potholes and bumps in the road makes it an extremely rough ride. Additionally, overinflated tires will create premature tire wear. The correct amount of tire pressure can be easily checked with the tire gauge. To ensure your vehicle is running as smooth as it can, make sure the tire pressure is set to the maximum PSI. I am David Lovett, and that has been your Mad Hatter Minute.
Hey folks, this is Joshua Brown with Mad Hatter on 23rd Street. Is your check engine light on? If it is, text MADHAT28, that's MADHAT28, to 24247, and we'll check it for free.
Welcome back to the show. I'm having morning coffee here with Dr. Stephen Favaloro from Forest Park Animal Hospital, and we're talking about the things you should know and consider before adopting a pet. Well, Steve, there's a few things we were talking about off camera that we should know.
Yeah. Well,
Before
you
we're
know,
done.
and I think our last segment we talked about things that, you know, pet owners want to pay attention to when they're, you know, getting new pets. And so, you know, one of the things that we want to look at is like, help them stay physically fit. So one of the biggest things I see, you know, all day long is obesity. Dogs come in, they're overweight. I saw a 3-year-old dog yesterday, large breed dog, 100 pounds, shouldn't even weigh 70 pounds. The dog's happy and healthy, but it's like your dog's going to get diabetes. You know, the hips are going to be in trouble. So, you know, walk them in the morning, walk them at night. You know, try to stay out of exercise during the sun, you know, during the summer, during the middle of the day, but, you know, give them some exercise. It's going to extend their life. It's going to be less expensive for you in the long run, and it's just healthier for the dog.
And it does something for them psychologically, too.
And for you,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It helps you get up and down. You know, one of the things they say about, you know, when we get older, you know, and say a spouse has passed away or there's no family around, you know, people get pets for companionship, but it extends their life because they're forced to get up, move, and do things. So absolutely. So another thing we always, particularly like if your dog has surgery, don't minimize your vet's advice. If your vet's like, put this e-collar, this cone, as everyone calls it.
I've seen those big things you put on the cone of shame.
It's for a reason, It's not because we like them to hit you in the back of the leg with it or run it down the wall and make a big mark on your house. We don't want them to chew the stitches out, or we don't want them to cause a big irritation there. So, if you have surgery like a neuter or spay, or like a laceration on the leg that they won't let, if your vet says, do that, it's for a reason.
So follow your vet's orders.
Yeah, absolutely. So take steps to socialize. We get a lot of dogs that'll come in that aren't around people a lot. They're scared, they're nervous,
Or they jump. We have some friends that have two large dogs that are jumpers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you come in and they just jump right on top.
And they're never walk. They just kind of let out. Mm-hmm. So when someone comes to the door, you walk in the house, you get two giant dogs jumping on you like they're lap dogs.
Right, and they just and they won't stop, and they'll just run around. They'll come do it again, and not everyone is fine with that. But also too, you got the other dogs that are kind of scaredy cats, or scaredy dogs. So you go into the house and the dog's in the corner urinating on itself because it's submitting, barking at you, and of course, that's not fun for the dog. So before they get about 4 or 5 months old, they should have been around multiple people besides your normal
and
household.
Other dogs too.
Other dogs, absolutely. You don't want to be that dog, the person walking in the park, and your dog is like trying to, tear everybody else's dog up because they're just not used to seeing them. Absolutely. So start training early too. If you're gonna wait till your dog's 6 months old to start training it to sit, stay, this, that, and the other, it's gonna be a little more difficult. Most dogs, when they're less than 4 or 5 months old, they all have ADHD. Like, oh my God, 2, 3, 30 seconds, pay attention here, go here. But, still don't undervalue the sit, stay, come. Those are really valuable tools that'll help you train them later and also make them more, acceptable in society. And also when people come over, like, socializing them. It's easier to socialize a dog who's going to listen versus a dog who's just running around being crazy.
Wow.
And one of the things is, looking for unusual behavior. So if you haven't had a pet for a while, or maybe you get like a cat and you're not a cat person. Girlfriend talks you into a cat. So if that cat's in and out of the litter box more than you think it should, straining to urinate, it could have some bladder issues. If it's going places outside the litter box, could be like a substrate aversion. It doesn't like the type of litter, or maybe you hadn't cleaned it in a week. So
cats are kind of persnickety, when it comes to that.
Absolutely. They say you should have 1.5 litter boxes per cat.
1.5.
1.5 litter boxes per cat is like the goal, the rule of thumb, if you will. But other things, if your dog's not eating, if it's limping, it's throwing up, having diarrhea. Normally it eats fine. It didn't eat well this morning, and this afternoon it's not eating, and so things like that.
So before we consider buying or owning or adopting a pet, we need to think about all these other issues that come along with pet ownership.
Right, and just like if you buy a car, most people don't just instinctively spend that much money without doing some research. Same for a dog. It's their lifelong commitment.
Yeah, make sure it's a good fit.
Absolutely.
Dr. Stephen Falvalero, thanks so much for getting us smart on this stuff, and always spay and neuter your pets, right?
Absolutely. Thank you.
And we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show. You may have noticed I've got a bunch of beads around me, and that's because I have Lisa Hanna here from the Bead Gallery on Harrison Avenue here in Panama City. Lisa, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, when you hear a bead gallery, as the name implies,
Okay.
it's a gallery with a lot of beads.
Exactly.
But what goes on there?
We offer classes in jewelry making, so if you want to, get into doing something like that, we offer those. We have many different varieties of classes, starting from beginner all the way to advanced. It's endless.
And I'm looking at some of the stuff that you've made here, which is really beautiful stuff. Now, this isn't necessarily a beaded thing,
right.
but it is.
Now that's a class project that we offer, and we're offering next month, and it's a stamping and texturing project. So that's something that you can make that's a different thing to do. We sell medals and a whole bunch of
Yeah.
different things in there.
And then I'm looking at some of these other things that you've made.
Yeah.
And now, are these for sale? If I were to go there and say,
Those
I
are
really
for
like
sale.
this, so so not only can I get a class there
Right.
from you, I guess you teach the classes.
I do not actually.
Really?
We have 3 instructors that are there all the time, and then we've got a few guest ones that come in here and there. So in September we have a couple guest instructors coming as well. So
How did you get
yeah.
started with this craft? I guess you call it.
I started out doing art shows years ago, and it just kind of progressed into I had a lot of beads, and and there was
What do I do with all these darn beads?
Right,
And let's
right.
string them together.
Yeah, and I used to sell jewelry that I made
Yeah.
at different places and everything, and it just kind of progressed into a bigger place. And before I knew it, I was renting in businesses downtown for 5 years, and then we opened up our own store, and we've been 6 years now. So
Wow.
we love it.
6 years in the bead
6
business.
years in the
Who
bead.
knew?
Who knew?
I know. Who knew that
I know.
beads would
There's
take
a
off
lot
so
people
much?
need to know about this place.
I know. Now I'm looking at these; they're kind of cool, and
Yeah.
they're all very beautiful. I mean, where do you get your beads from? I mean, I guess there's a
I
bead
have-
factory out there somewhere.
Well, my biggest place I go to is in Tucson. There's a huge gem show out there, and I do that in February. I love to handpick everything I get because I like quality. I guess being a glass artist, it kind of leads me into doing that. What I brought today for you to do was with the big hole beads. That's something very popular right now, the leather and pearl. And so I just thought it was
yeah.
a simple
Just
project.
sort of like
we
what you're
can-
wearing.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
something you
that's
can
very
do. This actually has beads on it that are ancient Roman glass beads. They're very old beads.
The
And
Roman
so-
glass is very popular now.
Yes, so we do sell a lot of beads with Roman glass that are made with Roman glass.
Now we've got to run off to a break.
Endless.
But I do want to talk more about the Roman glass. Is fascinating stuff because that is really archaeological glass that they've dug up from ancient Roman times that they're turning into modern jewelry.
Right.
And then you also say that you're a glass artist.
Yes,
And,
I play with fire.
yeah, let's talk about that on the other
Love to.
side
All right.
of these breaks. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Lisa Hanna from the Bead Gallery here in Panama City on
Yes.
Harrison Avenue. And you had mentioned before the break that you're a glass artist. Is that
Yes.
what you called it? Now you've got some glass rods here, and what goes on with that?
Right, okay. Well, I've been doing, making my own glass beads for 13 years now.
So you make your own beads. Now
I do.
You had mentioned during the break that some of these are natural, and these are actual. Oh, geez, there goes one now. These are freshwater pearls.
Yes.
And it's pretty amazing stuff.
Right.
That these are like natural.
Right. They're
and you can-
natural, and these have big holes in them that are made to put on leather, which is really hot.
And
trend
this is
right
what
now.
we have here. We have spools of leather thread.
Right.
And those glass rods you actually melt
Yeah,
with heat
this
and you turn
is
into
actually
beautiful
something
things.
I melt with the glass and
Uh-huh.
actually turn it into a bead like this.
Uh-huh.
So on Mondays I'm in my studio at my house, and that's when I do my creating, and then I bring it into the store and turn it into jewelry in my spare time when I'm not helping with
spare
other
time.
things. But you can check all that out on our website.
Now you've cut a little piece of leather for me
I
here,
did.
and I'm going to build something. Now you put a little knot in the end there. You just
Okay.
kind of fold it in half, double
Right,
it, put a knot in the
right.
end. Now
I
what
cut
am I doing
about
here?
3 feet, folded it in half.
Uh-huh.
I told you just to do a little overhand knot,
Uh-huh.
and then you want to make sure that your end beads are going to fit through here. So you need to pick
Excuse
out
me, the
what
old
beads
fella
you
needs his
want.
glasses now.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want it to fit through there, and you don't want it too
Yeah.
big, so you don't want it to slip out. Okay, so
Okay.
now you have your knot.
Right.
So then what you're going to do is pick out, I might as well just do those, or you can, whatever you want to
Okay.
do. You're going to put 2 beads on there.
Can I
and
mix
you're
them up a little bit?
Sure,
I
you can
mean,
do whatever you want.
So one on each? Can
Yeah.
I do one on
One
each?
on
Okay,
each.
Okay. I'll take one of these. I'll start off with the white ones. Those
Okay.
are kind of nice.
And then you want to stagger it, so there's one on top of the other.
Like that? No.
Stagger it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, like this, stagger it, just like that, and then you're going to do another overhand knot.
Another overhand knot.
Yep. Real
Thusly.
easy. Anybody can do this. This is
Anybody can do it,
Even you can.
Easy enough for a caveman
Simple
to do.
project.
I wonder if
And I s-
cavemen made these things. Okay.
No, you're not. You're not making a loop. You're going all
All the way through.
all the way through.
See, I ruined it already.
That's okay. It matches your shirt. We're in
I know,
style
that's
at
why
least.
I
Yeah.
picked it, yeah.
So you're gonna take it and you're gonna pull it all the way down like that. See?
Oh, I see.
what
It's
you're
really
doing?
hard to find
Yeah.
purple leather nowadays.
I
Where do
know.
you get this stuff? Like, I never knew there was such a thing as leather string.
The leather companies make many different varieties.
Well,
We
that
have
makes a lot of
hundreds of
sense.
different colors. Of course, the most popular is the browns.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little dark now here.
All right, live on the edge.
I'm living on the edge.
Okay.
I'm living La Vida Stupid here. Okay, let's see. Got one on there, and one right over here. And you do this in your classes with people. And these,
Right.
these are not perfectly round, which is kind of cool.
No, they're
you
a little
know?
irregular.
Yeah. So then I just do another simple knot.
Just simple overhand knot. You
But
can
all
do
the way
it. I have
through.
faith all the way through.
I think I can do it
yep,
this time.
and then just bring it down.
I have learned at
till
the
it's
hand
not
of the master.
Kind of even
the
from
master
the other one.
bead
yeah,
maker.
very good.
How's
So
that look?
simple. It's
Look
beautiful.
at that.
Look at that. Perfect.
So if I just keep going
Beautiful. Keep
on
going.
and on, we come up with something really beautiful.
Keep going all the way until you get it to the length that fits your wrist.
I'm
and
going
then
yellow
you'll-
this time.
Oh my goodness, it's going to be very colorful.
It is.
When you get to the end, you just put an overhand knot at the end, and then you have 2 different lengths of the beads, and then you just tie knots, and then it's adjustable, and it can fit on your wrist.
Lisa, Hannah,
Simple
if
and easy.
somebody wanted to take one of your classes, how do
Yes.
they get in touch with you?
Okay, we have a website, lhbeads.com.
lhbeads.com, or they could just come
Or
by
they
your
can
store.
come by our store, sign up. We can show them all the different samples we offer of different classes. So there's something for everyone in there.
And you're
Yeah.
located on the Harrison Avenue.
550 Harrison Avenue, across the street from Tom's Hot Dogs, next to the cupcake place. So if you're hungry, want something sweet, it's all right there. It's
Beads,
the
hot
best
dogs,
place ever.
cupcakes. What
It
more
is.
could you ask for
It
in
is. A lot of
Panama
fun,
City
yeah.
to that?
Yep.
Lisa, Hannah, thanks so much for sharing this with us.
Awesome,
And
awesome.
good luck to you.
Been
And
fun.
we'll see you next time.